All right, looks like all 9 of you have submitted your responses. So let's come back on into the room. How'd you feel about that quiz? Let's take a look at Canvas's instant analysis here. Looks like, again, average was 69%, but again, that's, when you're grading out of 4, things can drop pretty drastically. So let's see what's going on. First question, satellite in elliptical orbit about Earth's fastest moves. Again, it is close to Earth, right? That's when it's sort of slingshotting around. That's something we brought up a few times in the previous lecture. Satellite in Earth's orbit does not experience any drag or friction while in orbit, is mainly above Earth's. Correct answer is atmosphere. I know that a gravitational field seems like a tempting answer, though again, no one chose that actually. But yeah, once it's above the atmosphere, then technically it's not experiencing any drag because there's not any gases or anything in the way. Space is a vacuum once you're outside there. I guess, oh yeah, I can see some people chose both. The minimum speed is indeed 11.2 kilometers per second. You could find that in your notes or right there in the textbook. But 8 kilometers per second was for circular orbit around Earth. A little more than 8 kilometers per second would give you elliptical orbit. 11.2 is escape velocity from Earth. Does anyone remember what the 42.5 kilometers per second was?
That was the sun's, right?
Yep, escape velocity from the sun. So if you wanted to get out of the solar system, that's what you need to do. Last question, when you toss a projectile sideways, it curves as it falls. It will become an Earth satellite if the curve it makes, it should be matches the curvature of the Earth's surface is the main thing. Can anyone add some detail to that though? I mean, that's really not the only thing. Like if you wanted to have something that would consistently orbit the planet, what else has to be true about its location?
Above the atmosphere.
Yep. Yeah. Can't be experiencing any drag. If it did experience drag, it would eventually slow down and fall, right? So they leave that detail out, but great. Okay. And again, I think I put this in some of the comments, but if you earn a low score on a quiz, like especially like a 1 out of 4, you are welcome to retake the quiz if you want, and I can add some points back on. So just let me know. What I do is I create like a supplemental assignment, send it to you, and you take it, and I re-enter the score. So let me know if that is something you're interested in doing. Okay, our next task is to review the Rube Goldberg stuff. Your videos were awesome. Some of them were a lot of fun, so definitely go and check each other's out. Julia's like pouring water into a little like blender cup thing. Trying to remember some of the other ones I saw. But if you have not submitted a video yet, please do so and check each other's out and respond to them. Makes me very hopeful for the long-term project here. And if you can look on Canvas there, the next step in our we're going to start working now towards our final Rube Goldberg machine. And the main thing I want you to do this week is sort of set up a plan and try to come up with something a little more realistic about what you could then build that would be a little more permanent, a little bit kind of take longer to do. Specifically, you're going to be choosing the 4 tasks that you want to try to achieve out of that list of 8 that is in the project description. And then I want you to start thinking about what you have at home that can complete each of those tasks. And that'll be part of your homework assignment. So for example, if you choose, moving a liquid from one container to another, then maybe you have a water bottle that you can knock over and it can fill up a dish or something like that, that is then maybe on a book that then gets weighed down. So it could either be the final task or it could be middle task. That might also be something you want to think about, is what your last one will be and what the other ones, how the other ones will connect together. But again, right now it's more just thinking about what you want to do and what you can do with the materials you have. So there'll be a homework assignment related to that. All right. So our next task, number 3, is a 1-minute think. What I'm going to do is times for 1 minute, and I want you to consider the following question. Why are humans so good at throwing? We've been talking about projectile motion and throwing projectiles, and we talked about David and Goliath in our previous lesson. And humans, it turns out, are actually very good at throwing things. So I want to ask you why. I'm going to time for just 1 minute for you to kind of think about it. And if you want to hop on Google, you can look some stuff up as well. And then I'm going to pull up a poll everywhere question where you can type in your thoughts. Again, not looking for any right or wrong answers here, just ideas. So why are humans good at throwing things? Right now on the screen, you should see instructions for our pull everywhere question. Works just like we did previously. Again, question is, why are humans so good at throwing things? If you go to pollev.com /hate sci2, or if you're on your phone, you can use a number, but go ahead and type your text and hit submit. And again, there's 9 of us here in the room, so let's try to get to at least 7 or 8 responses before we review it. All right, let's take a look. 2 eyes to judge distance of anything, and our arms are powerful. Because we have thumbs, so yeah, we could grab onto things. Because we have a lot of energy stored in the muscles in our arms, and have good perspective eyesight. We made to hunt a long time ago. We used to hunt. We would have to throw rocks as part of our evolution. Yep, good. I like the mention of evolution because we need to throw stuff back to the Stone Age to kill things. We evolved, so that's getting hunting again. Arms and elbow joint can create a very effective slingshot. Good. So getting at the idea of levers, right? First class, second class levers, which your arm is essentially both first class and second class lever. Because you stand on 2 feet, thumbs grip projectiles and momentum, strength, and force. Good. Wrists evolved to rotate. Yep, that's definitely, I think, kind of relates a little bit more to climbing, but also definitely helped us with throwing. Time helped develop strong arms. Fingernails. Yeah, that's fingernails, as far as I know, is one of these mysterious things that scientists are still debating the exact significance of them and if they're just leftovers of claws, but could help us again with gripping stuff. So, all right. So now I want to watch a brief video, and it's actually an Edpuzzle. So I'll have you guys work through that on your own. Again, this is task number 3. So the Edpuzzle link is the second bullet point down. So we just did the poll everywhere question. It says complete this Edpuzzle, Sci2A, how throwing made us human. If you're not able to get the Edpuzzle to work, I did post a link to just the video. Video is about 4 minutes long. The Edpuzzle has 4 questions in it. So I'll watch our progress, but again, I'll give us about 10 minutes to work on this, and then we'll come back together to review it. So 10 minutes to work on that Edpuzzle. And again, if the Edpuzzle doesn't work, just watch the video and we'll come back to discuss it. Again, I'm here listening if you've got questions or something doesn't work. Go for it. All right, looks like a majority of you are done. So let's come back on into the classroom. What'd you all think?
It was pretty crazy. It was like your arm like carries energy and stuff, and
Yeah,
it's cool.
Anyone ever read about or learned about this at all in an evolutionary context before? I mean, like outside of like sports stuff. Yeah, Bailey.
Yeah.
That 4-minute video is essentially that guy's like whole doctorate. And now he was at Harvard before. Now he's a professor at whatever the site was for that you watched the video through. So. All right, but let's just take a quick look through and see how we're feeling about the question. So, how do chimpanzees compare to humans as throwers?
They couldn't throw as fast as us.
Yeah, they're way worse, like 1/3, which is weird though, because does anyone know what's true about their strength?
They're stronger.
Yeah. If any of you watch Tiger King, they have people in there who have like pet chimpanzees, and chimpanzees are some of the most dangerous pets you can have because they will rip your arm out and unintentionally, right? Or like bite a finger off. They're extremely strong animals, but they're not very good at throwing. How do your tendons and ligaments in your shoulder and arm allow you to throw objects so powerfully? What does he equate them to?
They're like elastic bands in a slingshot.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where if you guys have ever seen like collections of rubber bands, like all like done together and the power that those have, that's essentially what's going on in your muscles. Your muscles are millions and millions of these very taut proteins that can sort of expand and contract and get a lot of force. In fact, do you see those, like, have anyone seen those like still photos, and they had a few of them in the video of pitchers? Doesn't it look like horrible the way their arm is just like when they're throwing? But that's what, again, that's that elasticity there. So how does throwing in sports, though, differ from what our ancestors were doing? What's the problem with sports like baseball?
It's a game. It's for
You,
fun.
you
Yeah.
throw way too much.
Yeah, those guys are throwing, numerous times in one single session, right? Which is not something our previous ancestors were doing. Yes, and also that they're not the pitcher is not going to try to kill and eat the batter. So that would definitely be entertaining to watch. I think that we should add that to those sports. But yes, it's the repetitive motion, which is why, again, a lot of baseball pitchers, a lot of decathletes who often have to do the javelin throw, often experience a lot of injuries because they have to do that way more often than they ever normally would. And so, what different projectiles did our ancient ancestors most likely use?
Spears, like that stuff.
Sharpen like wooden spears, I thought.
Yep. At some point, they think that most likely either Homo erectus or Homo, what's the other one? It's not Africanus. But one of those two was intelligent enough to pick up a sharpened stick and try throwing it. And then that, they were able to kill and eat more food. Those individuals were healthier, they reproduced more, and that's your evolution aspect, right? Of that learned behavior, most likely genetic based, or at least having brains big enough to figure that out. That's what got passed on. And so other ancestors that weren't able to figure that stuff out didn't survive. And so now, now look at our tool use. It's pretty crazy. So, and again, a lot of you have experienced this. I mean, yes, it's amazing what professional athletes can do, but you, the average person, can also throw really well. And so the story I like to tell, it does have a happy ending, but so when I was in the Peace Corps, I got a garden going in the back of my compound. I was in West Africa in the Gambia, and I had these little garden beds, and I worked really hard to get fertilizer, and I fertilized the garden bed so things would grow. But we had chickens in the compound, and these chickens would get into my garden, and if anyone's ever watched a chicken eat, they scratch and they look for bugs, right? And so these chickens would dig all the fertilizer out of my bed. So the fertilizer would be everywhere except in the garden bed, which was really, really frustrating. And one day I came home and I built this fence up to try to keep them out, and the chickens had still gotten in. I was so mad. I chased them out, and there was a moment I picked up a rock, and I was like, I'm going to get one of these guys. And there was a chicken running along the fence. And again, I was so mad, and my brain just did the math. My brain was like, okay, the chicken's going to run there. And I threw the rock ahead, and I nailed this chicken in the head, like nailed it. And it's flopping on the ground. And so you have to understand, I lived with a Muslim family then. Muslims won't eat anything unless it's been properly killed, right? They have like a ritualistic way that they kill animals. And so I was panicking and running to get my host father so that they could go ahead and cut the chicken's throat so they could still eat it. But luckily when we came back, it had gotten up and was still walking around. It was okay. So I was worried that I'd killed it, but I hadn't. I probably concussed it, or who knows, it probably wasn't the same again, but whatever, it's a chicken. But it was a crazy moment. I did not play baseball in high school. I'm not very good at throwing things. And yet in that angry moment, my brain did the math and I did it. So anyway, it's kind of a funny moment that I think back on, but really shows you our ability to throw things. So, all right, so we are going to have a little activity today where you are going to do exactly that. You are going to be working on throwing something. Again, if you hop onto Canvas, I have sort of lengthy instructions on what to do. And honestly, I'm going to let you read your way through those. I've provided everything that I can. This is task number 4 right here, the activity, how far can you throw? There are 2 things you're going to be doing for this. You're going to be working on a Canvas quiz. There's a link there. The Canvas quiz also has all the instructions in it. And you'll be answering, I think, about 5 or 6 questions just about your observations in this activity. Again, I know it looks complicated, but all you're doing is basically using a projectile, either indoors or outdoors, and you're going to be throwing at a 15-degree angle, a 45-degree angle, and a 75-degree angle. And you're just going to be trying to see which angle gets the projectile to go the farthest. So the first question you should answer right away, right? What's your prediction? Do you think throwing at 15 degrees, 45 degrees, or 75 degrees will give you the longest distance? And I have images here. Here's what 15 degrees looks like, 45 degrees, and 75 degrees. Again, I have an instruction video here if you can get to the outdoors. I have an instruction video here if you can only stay indoors. You can do this exercise in either location. Please be safe. Do not hurt your arms. Do not hit other people. Don't hit cars. Don't break windows. Don't break anything in your house, right? Using soft projectiles is best if you're indoors, especially. Again, I have all those suggestions. So I encourage you to read through these, open up that Canvas quiz so you're ready to fill in that information. And then there's also a flip grid, as usual. Not this one. That's simple. Oops. Well, I want to keep that there, though. It's this one right here. How far can you throw? Again, I have the same video right here, both indoor and outdoor instructions and summary of instructions right here. And again, if you don't get the video done right now, it'll roll into homework, though I'm hoping that, having the next 20 minutes will be enough time to try to get something done. And so I'll be here listening if you need help on instructions or if something isn't clear, if a link isn't working, but otherwise you have the next 20 minutes to work on that activity. Go for it. All right, kiddos, 20 minutes is elapsed. Let's come back together. How was that? I do these activities to try to get you up out of your chair, and yet I swear Will's video is just him and his computer chair just chucking golf balls right from or tennis balls right from the same seat. But I guess that's an efficient use of space as well. So, all right. So be honest. How many of you predicted? What were your predictions? Which angle did you think was going to give you the most horizontal distance?
I thought 45 degrees.
All right. Most other people? Anyone guess any of the other ones?
I did 45 too.
Yeah. It's funny to think though, because do baseball pitchers pitch at 45 degrees?
They're like pretty straight.
Yep, straight line. But that's because they're going for speed usually, not for distance. But yes, hopefully what you realize, especially by doing the FET simulation, just to show you my screen, if you did the FET simulation correctly, here's what you basically should have gotten. And it's just showing you that, again, the 15 degrees, it definitely falls short to the ground pretty quickly. 45 seems like the perfect combination of giving you both altitude and range. But the 75 is way too much altitude. And so you sacrifice your range, right? It's sort of all about where the force is distributed too. So again, I'm talking about baseball pitchers though, they definitely pitch more to 15-degree angle, if not completely horizontal, sometimes even downward. If you think about the pitcher's mound is actually a little bit higher up than the batter's mound. But in terms of a baseball swing, and I want to guess what angle most baseball players are trying to achieve in their swing.
Like 45 to get like as far as I can.
Yeah, again, a good baseball swing, and often a home run. If you really analyze the direction of the swing, they swing downwards and up at a 45-degree angle, because if they can connect with the ball there, then that's what maximizes the horizontal distance, which if you're a baseball player is what you're trying to do, because you're trying to get it out of the park. And so kind of cool to think about. Again, might be kind of obvious, I think, but I thought it was kind of just interesting and silly activity to explore that. And so obviously in hunting too, humans, we are very good at throwing things like spears and stuff at probably roughly about a 45-degree angle. And if you watch javelin throws at track or decathlon events, that's usually, again, the angle that they're throwing at. If you throw the, what do they call that? The throwers, when they have the ball that they hold next to their head, they're usually launching that again at a 45-degree angle. Seems to maximize things. It equalizes the horizontal and vertical. So, okay. In our last 10 minutes, I just want to go over the homework, which is a little specific this time around. If you have not yet posted your video, which it looks like almost all of you did, please do that for homework and complete that Canvas quiz. Looks like some of you are still wrapping that up. I would like you to get going on your final Rube Goldberg machine, your initial plan. So again, this is a little Canvas assignment that I've created here, and I thought I pulled it up, but I guess not. But it's just 2 questions. In fact, I'll just pull it up here now on the screen. It's asking you essentially which of the 4 tasks you would like your final Rube Goldberg machine to do out of that list of 8. I have a link to the project description here. Again, here's that list of 8 possible things it needs to do. And then I'm asking you in that assignment what you have at home that you can then use to accomplish these 4 tasks. So this is just some initial planning. None of this is set in stone. You can change your idea if you want. I just want to see where people are at and encourage you to start thinking about it. Again, it is a graded assignment, just 8 lab points, but please complete that. The bigger assignment, as you can see on the bottom there of the tasks list, is to read over the comments that were just published and released and respond with some feedback. So I know we did midterm grades already, but this now is sort of like more like a spring midterm remote learning feedback. It's a comment I wrote, and you should be getting comments from all your teachers about how you've been doing in the remote learning. The way that I've done it is through a Google Doc that should have been automatically shared with you. So just to show you really quickly, you should just go to your Drive. And I made a little video about this as well. Go to your Drive, and you should go to the Shared with Me category, I think, right here. Shared with Me. If you click on that, there'll be a bunch of stuff in there. But what you're looking for is a doc that will look something like this. It'll be your last name, first name, and then a code 523-1 for you guys. So that's what you're looking for there. When you open that doc, again, I won't open any ones in particular because that's private for you, but here's sort of like a template that it'll have your current grade as it currently stands, which you can also go look at on Canvas. I'll have a little paragraph just about areas of strength and success, anything that requires attention, any missing work, and what you can do to make up that missing work, and so on. But then more importantly, the last paragraph says to respond and reflect on this feedback, answer the questions on this student reflection Google Doc. And that should link you to a Google Doc that I made specifically for you that you can edit. You shouldn't really be able to edit this if you think you can comment on it, but this you can actually edit. And it's, I think, about 6 questions that are more, again, like what's going well, what was accurate about the observation, what was not accurate, what aspects of the class have been most difficult, where have you felt success, and so on. So this is just helpful feedback for me. We are 6 weeks into this, and we've got 6 weeks to go. So we are basically at the halfway point of our online learning experience. So, and obviously the big selling point is that if you complete this, this is a 10-point assessment score. So it's a 10-point test score, basically. So please complete it. If you don't, it's a silly way to bring down your assessment score because I will give you 0. So please get it done and take some time to read over that. So is everyone able to find that document? Anyone try? Should have been automatically shared with you. If you can't, let me know. I can access it and just reshare it with you. But otherwise, it should all be there. So, all right, that is your only homework for Wednesday. Is the plan for the Rube Goldberg and feedback on this comment, and then obviously if you haven't done the video or anything else. But all right, that's it for me, kids. Thank you very much.
Shared with me.
Yeah, it should be a Google Doc that was shared with you. So anyway, thanks very much. Have a good day.